When you need advice, come to Ben and Kelly. It's group therapy on 99.7 DJX.
Man, this one is, yikes. There's a little bit of a cringe factor with this one. So we got an anonymous message that said, well, we know who it is, but we're not going to tell you the identity to protect them.
Yes, thank you.
Hey, Ben and Kelly, will you help me figure this out? I had the most humiliating experience at work. A supervisor, politely and discreetly, told me I smell. I was so horrified, and now I don't know how I can stand to show my face at work. I know it isn't an excuse, but I've been suffering from gradually worsening depression, and a main symptom I experience is a lack of motivation for self-care. I had never dreamed, though, it was this bad.
Dang.
And I'm sure if one person said something, it stands to reason that several noticed. Now, aside from obviously finding a new zeal for hygiene, I have no idea how to move on from this. Should I try to explain myself by telling my boss about what's been going on with my depression? Should I just quit my job, change my name, move to a tiny remote island in the middle of the sea? Oh my God.
Well, no, I don't think you should do that.
No.
But I mean, depression is a beast. And
oh, it is.
So, I certainly don't want to take light of your situation and just say
so bad for her.
And just say, well, just make sure you take showers. Because it's like you cannot move. It's like you don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
And so it's probably a tough situation for her to even get up and go to work.
Yeah.
Much less, do anything like brush your teeth or take a shower or things like that.
But yeah, the whole getting over the embarrassment of knowing that people picked up on that, noticed that about you. I mean, that is, how do you mentally get over that, to walk in that place where that people were talking about the fact that you did not smell good? Yeah,
I don't think, though.
I would be mortified. I would die.
I
would probably just not show up.
Well, but so that I think is going to make it worse, in that if you quit your job without another job lined up, then you could just spiral into
worse depression.
Yes, exactly. Feeling sorry for yourself, or even worse, I can't get another job because of my hygiene and all that. So, this is.
Maybe I think she does have a little aside with the boss and just say, listen, thank you for pointing that out. And I've been going through a rough time, and I just kind of let some stuff go. I promise that won't happen again. I'm going to pay, better attention to that and make sure that I'm showing up, professionally and, clean and all that stuff.
Well,
and thank you for pointing that out.
Listen, if you've gone through this, or you kind of know what she's going through, I think your opinion could probably help here. 502-571-9970. That's why we call this group therapy. And or maybe you're a boss and you're like, all right, this is how I would want an employee to approach this with me. Obviously that's very personal, and you can keep that personal if you want, your depression. But yeah.
Kudos to the supervisor for having the guts to say something like that, because that's the other part of it. I don't know if I would ever be able to say that to someone, because knowing how mortifying and hurtful it could be to that person.
Yeah. 502-57 here, as we have a listener that reached out to us and was just like, hey, she admitted to us. She was like, look, I'm going through some depression, and one of the symptoms I'm experiencing is a lack of motivation for self-care. And so one of my supervisors told me politely that I smell.
Yeah, and she's just mortified at this point, and she's, kind of not even wanting to set foot in the office again. Now, we've gotten several text messages from managers chiming in. She says, as a person who has had to have the hygiene talk with someone, we tell you as soon as it's a problem. We don't let it go on for more than just that day. So she probably only smelled that day. And most of her coworkers probably think it was just a fluke and won't remember that she smelled that particular day. So that should make her feel a little bit better about that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if getting, just quitting your job is the right way to go about this. And
no, I say that, but obviously she's probably not in a spot where she can just up and quit without having another job to go to. So you're going to have to try to face I know you're feeling embarrassed about someone having to bring something like that up to you, but I think that was a really good point that they probably addressed it like that day
in the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and look, it's not a case where you can just say, "Hey, look, just brush your teeth and take a shower." It's not that big of a deal. It is a big deal if she's dealing with depression. It's literally like you are paralyzed and you can't and struggle to do just about anything. And we got another a text from a listener, and I'm gonna because I don't know if these listeners who are saying that they know what she's going through want us to say their name. So I'm just going to keep them all anonymous. But
okay.
We got another listener that was like, look, I know what she's going through. There's not anybody on the planet that wouldn't understand what she's going through right now. And I unfortunately had to have that kind of conversation before with an employee. And it was horrible saying that to them. Embarrassing for me as well. But I talked with him and worked with him one-on-one, told him I wanted to help him in any way I possibly could. And I recommended him to therapy. And when he was having a bad day, I just made the time to talk to him and let him go home if needed. So just talk to your boss about it.
Yeah, you just have to remember that your boss is a human too.
Yeah.
Regardless of what kind of a relationship or dynamic you have in your office, if it's more casual or if it's more formal, if you know your boss well, if you don't, they are there to try to help you in any way, shape, or form perform the best for the company.
Yeah.
So, and the fact that she pulled you aside discreetly to tell you about it, I think lets you know that you could probably let her know what you're struggling with and, that you're going to make sure you pay more attention to that.
There is a listener that recommends a book called How to Keep House While Drowning. And
that sounds like a good one.
So maybe that's something to check out. She says it specifically talks about addressing issues like this when you're dealing with depression, and it's very common. And so, that's maybe something to check out there. How to keep house while drowning. So. Yeah,
and there's another listener. Definitely speak with your supervisor. Many places now have resources that can be offered to associates that are struggling.
Yeah. Well, hey, look, we're thinking about you and we're hoping the best for you. And just know that, you can get through this. Obviously, it's going to take some time and it's going to take some effort. But
yeah, definitely talk to your boss about it.
Yeah. Well, keep us posted here on 99.7 DJX.